G'day everybody, and welcome back for some more ACS modding. Unlike the recent ones that I've been doing recently, the recent ones that I've been doing recently. Wow, Splitsy, get a thesaurus. Unlike the recent streams, my plan today is actually to do some building, like proper building. Because at the moment, this is the extent of bases that can spawn on the moon. And while, yeah, these have their oxygen tanks and kind of have a little bit of a lunar theme to them, using solar panels instead of the wind turbines, I feel like this one's the only one that really feels like it could be a moon-based thing, because it's actually got an airlock. I was just looking at these other ones going, they don't have airlocks. I should probably make them have airlocks. I think it would make a lot of sense for them to have airlocks. Also, airlocks, airlocks, airlocks. So that was kind of my thinking for today. I was going to work on making these look far more moon suitable, as well as building, hopefully, a new base or two to expand the number of options and potentially have something that's kind of getting up toward the scale of these three bases here. Have something that's a little bit bigger. So there is a lot more variety on the lunar surface for you to interact with that's not just the same. As usual for my Tuesday streams, we'll be doing the ACS stuff up until Capac and Wasted show up, and then be switching over to SnowRunner. Because that is now my Tuesday. Also, thanks AJ for the sub during the stream, before the stream. Thanks Greg, Scythe and Ramirez, because I think I missed you guys yesterday. I think also I missed Cormus yesterday. And that is a bit of a reminder that I really need to get off my butt and do the little post-stream thank you thing for all the patrons, which I want to work on. Which I've got some plans to do with the whole falling Capax stuff, these things. Not this one specifically, I recorded some footage that was specifically for that bit. So yeah. Murder airlocks, not sure. Not sure we're going to do that, because they don't really work. Like, sure, I did get Capac murdered in an airlock once, but yeah, it's hard to actually get it to murder someone properly without it, you know, not working. So I think I'm going to start with this selection of bases, make them have airlocks. This one I think is small enough we can probably... No, I'll do the same with it. I'll bring it out another half block. I was also thinking that for the lunar bases I might go for this rounded look a little bit more. Just for something different and something to separate them. So I was going to see if there was something on these bases I could do with the rounded glass that might make it interesting. Like, I don't know. We'll see. In fact, before I start messing with that... Did I put undo on here? Yes, I did. Yes! Look at that, it's all back. Now we can copy that, and I can mess with it separately. Hey, thanks so much, Mavelite. Thank you so much for the 5 gift subs. Too bad you can't overpressure an airlock to blow someone out of space. Yeah, it's a pity you can't mess around with pressure all that much. In the early days of air tightness and like grid-based air tightness in Space Engineers, you could do things like that. The player character, if they didn't have their jetpack on, would be moved by the air pressure. Or was the player moved? Maybe the player wasn't, but I think the player was. Let me see if I can find the thing that Capac and I did with it. But the airlock could definitely mess with like grid items. Sorry, components and the like. Yeah, here we go. From Light Echoes, Episode 1.
Make sure you seal your helmet properly. Magnetize your boots.
Like, I think that was actually done with Capac very quickly turning off his jetpack to make sure that he went outside with it. But it was it was tricky to pull off, I remember that much. Let's go with... Let's try making this airlock a bit bigger. Where are my doors? There's my doors. Also, ew, no, that's not battered for this. Why am I doing battered? And flip that round. Now we have a nice little proper airlock. And the base isn't that much bigger. If you didn't have a jetpack on, it would start your jetpack. Yes, that is true. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember Capac having to quickly shut off his jetpack desperately so that we could get that slow motion, that slow movement that he did as he was flying out the airlock. It was tricky to pull off some of the stuff there, but it was fun. I liked the build challenges that we had to deal with in Light Echoes and the things I could do to twist Space Engineers to my will. What I might do is maybe we go... Let me change this up a little bit. Oops. Needed that. Oops. No, let's go this. Nope. Yes. So what I'm thinking is bring those out a bit. I'm going to grind this down to build state. And I'll attach the stairs to that. Oh wait, that should probably stay full, because that's going to have the door on top of it. Yeah. Andrew, that was my plan. I wanted to go around the corner here with the stairs. So... was thinking... like this. And then I can put railing up the top here. Actually, I'll put catwalk on top of it. Like that. The other thing I was thinking was... I had a turret next to the door before, but maybe we could do that there, put stair there, which gives us a nice attachment point, and if I move those out of the way, we put a turret down here, and then may not need to do anything, but what I can do if I thinking maybe some plate on here might help break this wall up a little bit. Or kind of tie it together, I suppose. More than break it up. Something like this. Dark Wolf, this mod doesn't require DLC. It's one of the weird quirks of NPC mods. I'm pretty sure you don't need any of the DLC to do this. I use DLC blocks all over the place, but I don't think you need to have the DLC to use this mod. Someone who hasn't got the DLC, can you tell me if that's true? But my understanding was you didn't actually need it. Because you're not building any of the blocks, and I'm not letting you build any of the blocks, it doesn't go against what Keen want. And Keen use the DLC blocks in their own NPCs. So you can get the DLC blocks and transfer them the way that Capac and I have been in Scavenger Hunt, but you can't build them yourself, so there's no issue on Keen's end for that stuff, which is, again, one of those things that, compared to some other things out there, is actually pretty good. Much as Keen's given a lot of grief for a lot of things, I think that's one area where they've done the right thing. Oh, this door feels like it's sticking out like a sore thumb. Yeah, I can't do plating on this side because I've put that plate there. But maybe plating would be what's needed to bring it... make it stick out a little bit less. Yeah, I'm not sure where I can integrate curves into this one. I kind of want to, but I'm not sure where. Also, that can go. Let's go with a plate instead. The interior. A plate with... what pattern? Corrugated might work. Actually, I think sci-fi is going to be the best look there. Oh, sci-fi might look better on these. Yeah. Yeah. Where's the heavy plate? Thought I had somewhere on my bar, but I don't. Yeah. I kind of like that. I feel like that kind of helps to tie those two blocks together, even though you can very clearly tell that the textures are squished, in this case, and stretched in that case, because neither of these is a circle. And that is going to bug some people. Because neither of them's right. They clearly chose somewhere in between, so both would be slightly wrong, but not so wrong that you necessarily notice it at a significant distance. I wish I hadn't seen that. Oh, alright, what could I put on top of this? If at first you don't succeed, make it wrong everywhere. What could we use? I could try and integrate some of these half windows in, actually. I haven't really used them anywhere, and this whole wall could possibly benefit from looking a bit less like a nice modern apartment and a bit more like a facility that a cheapo... Yeah. Cheapo contractor would do. Uh, concrete is all around the bottom. And I might just change that bit that's hanging out back to metal. Like I could bring the building out this way another block. That's true. I just kind of wanted to do this, I kind of wanted to do it this way for this one. Yeah, like a corporation had it built by the lowest bidder, exactly. Yeah, I think this'll do. Got a turret. Got an airlock. Got a space inside. So that's one of them done. I will get rid of its original. Now let's have a look at this one. This is the broken one. It's the broken one we could possibly have some more fun with. Such as, first off, let's change this pillar out. Yeah, I can make the airlock smaller. I can, like, you can do that. It could be a single block instead of how big it is. Oh no. Really? Aw. Maybe it'll work with these. So I think I designed some of these bases before some of the DLC decorative blocks were even in the game. Let's see if these create an attachment point that we can actually use. I mean, I could do this if they don't. Should definitely give me the attachment point. There we go. And then put these in. Yeah. Yeah, the small grid windows with the bars would be kind of... Having barred windows in large grid would be nice. I agree. So for this one, gonna get rid of those lights. And maybe put an open door there, which is switched off. That there, then we can go with just stairs straight down. That might be all I need to change for this one. I just like the idea of actually making these look like they could be pressurized spaces even though they aren't. Although they sometimes are. Oops. Yes, a bodge job indeed. That's mostly what I do in this. In this, I bodge together the the kind of scripted part. I bodged together this stuff. It's just how I roll. Oh, hang on. Did you never look at this? I don't remember what this looks like in corrugated. Oh, they're bigger. Yeah. Still don't want it in this particular case, but that's good to remember that the corrugations, like the bits that stick out, are the larger part with the heavy armor. Did I just shoot at it to make the damaged armor? Yes. I used rockets and Gatling, mainly Gatling and rifle fire to damage the things. Sometimes I use a drill if I just want a very specific dent in a thing, because it's a nice, delicate way of doing it. Cool. Yeah, we'll leave that one as is. Don't know that I need all the multiple different versions of this that I've got. What's even the difference with this one? I think it was just difference in what loot was in there, but now I'm doing the randomized loot. Possibly doesn't need to be done, but since I've got these slight variants, I may as well keep them. But I won't be doing that sort of variation to the new bases. Instead, I would like to spend more time on making more very different bases rather than lots of little variants on each one. Would you like for space engineers to have the option to set the build state of blocks you place? It would be useful for creative mode builds to have the option to place something in its starter build state or its completed state. Have some way of toggling that. That'd be incredibly useful. I don't think, because there are some builds have more build states than others, I don't think having all the build states available is all that useful, but having specific ones absolutely is. Having the starter and the end would absolutely, because then you can just much more easily get to those things. And lots of people use build states in their creative builds. I know I'm not alone in doing that. No, Fredstar, you cannot build a base out of small grid. If you build a base out of small grid, it can't interact with the voxels in any nice way. There are mods that let you do that and let you get away with that, but they can bring a whole lot of other problems with them anyway. So no, as a general rule, no, you can't build in small grid. And I specifically for this mod choose not to use any subgrids like hinges or rotors in order to get small grid onto these things, because such things tend to increase the risk of something clanging and causing problems when it spawns. And for the most part, I think having the subgrids on these things doesn't add enough to make it worth your while. Well, small grid blocks are not meant to be static, so no, I wouldn't say it's a Keen issue. Keen never intended them to be static grids. You're not meant to build a base out of small grids, so they stopped it from being a thing. So I wouldn't say it's an issue. I feel like it's intentional behavior on their end. Like, you can't... I don't think you can say something is Keen's fault when they appear to have deliberately chosen it. Also, good idea about switching this out to the half beams. Except they can't attach. Ah! Oh, that's infuriating. Well, guess we can't do that. Well, no, Stug. The bug was that in the past you were able to put small grids into voxel and they wouldn't explode. Keen specifically messed with that behavior and stopped it from being a thing. Yeah, I don't really want to do the one leg under because there's no good transition from the halves to the full. Or the halves around a corner with the beams. So I think I'll just leave it at build state. The nice thing about the build state... The reason I've used build state of armor blocks on a lot of these things is so that they can specifically and easily be targeted by a rifle fire. So if you want to disable this gun, you shoot here. It was an intentional weak point in the design. On April 1st, you can still release assertive clang systems where every base is made up of carefully arranged subgrids. Oh. Yeah, as I said, everyone, that's, there are specific ways you can do it, but as a general rule, you can't. There are even mods that re-enable the ability to do it, to do small grid static, but I don't want people to have too many extra mods to play with my mod. That makes sense? What is the difference between these two? Oh, the turret on the solar panel tower. Right. Spectre Spectrum, I have no take on Keen's plan to add more AI stuff to the game, other than, yay, it's something I've been asking them to do for ages. I've wanted them to do for ages. There's no take to have on it, and anyone who claims to have a take on it is just talking ridiculous. You can't have a take on something they haven't actually released yet. Like, how is that even a thing? How can you claim to have a perspective on something you don't have any real info on? I hope that what they do is enable a lot of mod API access to whatever they've released, because that will be a really, really, really valuable thing, because if we have good mod API access, then the modders that have been messing with AI in Space Engineers for longer than Keen seem to have, will have access to it and be able to mess around with things and create more stuff from whatever Keen does. And I think, like, when you think about it from a game developer like Keen, the more tools they give us, the better their game becomes. Because we have such an amazing modding community. But yeah, there's not really any take I can have on it when there's no real information available about what they're actually doing with it. Until I see something, I just hope that it's good. And I hope that they do at least some of the things that I've been dreaming of them doing for a long time. So there's no slope beam that can transition between a half beam and a half beam, Fred. That's why I don't want to do the beams on the tanks. No, Mavelite, I don't agree with that. I don't agree that Keen should just focus on API support and let the modding community do their thing. I think Keen should continue to put effort into expanding mod API support, but Keen need to have their own stuff integrated into the game. And often, in the case of the decorative blocks and things like that, it's great that we had Keen integrate decorative blocks, which basically replaced Ikesta's decoration pack. Because if we didn't, we'd always have to have those mods, and when those modders decide to retire from the community and go play something else, those mods are gone. Whereas Keen have kept... They will keep maintaining those things. Slash, they may not need to be maintained because they're ingrained in the game. But as I said, that's not me saying don't worry about mod API support. It's the opposite. I think Keen have to do both. Well, I don't have to. Keen benefit from doing both. Right, this one let's make bigger, like was suggested before. Does that look weird? Let's just do that. Yeah, that'll make it look quite different, despite not actually being that different. I'll bring this out here. Yeah. And instead of putting the door there, I could do this. I really need to rearrange these hotbars. They are terrible. Alright, let's do that. My hotbars in here are so bad. Ugh. Okay. So, hotbar 1, I actually do want to put those there. Because I always have those there and it makes it easy for me to remember. Don't want rounds. That. 2 can be that one. That one. That one. That one. That one. That. And we'll see where we go. 3 can be all of the decorative blocks. Wait, 2 should have catwalks. Yeah. It's really annoying. when I've got rough standards for what I do for these things, but no formal, this is how I do it every time. There is a mod out there that lets you restore and save your hotbar. I think. Some vague memory of one. I thought there was a mod, not just a plugin that did it, but maybe I'm misremembering. I'm thinking this sort of thing. There's a way to expand it a little bit without making this thing too ridiculously big. And then we paint part of this blue. Yeah. Yeah, I've got the undo mod in. I used it earlier. I was very glad that I did have it in this save at the time. Window. Window. Now we might get rid of this. Instead, pop that bathroom out and put one of the ones that looks like it has a door but doesn't actually. I mean, I guess I could have put the bathroom down here, couldn't I? Yeah, let's do that instead. Actually, let's see how this would look with a shower in the corner there. Why is everything starting upside down? So I put that there, that's a little... It's a little odd, isn't it? It's a very exposed shower. Not gonna do that. Brzezinski, given the way that JTERP is progressing AI enabled, I don't think we're that far from... Well, between JTERP's AI enabled and Patrick's crew enabled, it doesn't feel like we're that far from being able to relatively easily add mobile, character-sized NPCs to our NPC bases and the like. It feels like it's something that we are actually going to be able to do. Oh, I didn't add lights to one of these. Let's lose. Let's put it on 4. Why not? That'll do. But feeling like we're not far away is very different from actually not being far away. It could still be a while. The thing is, if we have... Like, if Keen are actually planning on adding their own character NPCs like AI Enabled has, if we have that, then we really don't need interior turrets anymore. Which would mean interior turrets could be rebranded as point defense. And then Keen would have to figure out how to make them actually shoot down rockets like they did long ago. Yeah, the half windows are airtight. There are heaps of blocks in Space Engineers that are functionally airtight, but not visually airtight. But the nice thing about... So, turrets are actually a really unfun combat mechanic. Interior turrets are either going to have to be made so bad that you as the player have a really high chance of defeating them. Also, thanks Cross Primed, I missed your Prime earlier. The interior turrets either have to be so inaccurate that it's really quite easy to combat them, or so delayed that you can run past them and you can take them out with ease, or they're so effective that they're incredibly frustrating and the only way to fight them is with something big. Something that moves changes all that. If instead of a turret, you've got a thing that's moving around inside here, even if it's on a very set patrol path, that is a lot more interesting to engage with, because you'll wait till it turns around, then you'll pop out and start shooting it. There's a sensible delay before it turns around and shoots you back. And then it'll try and get into cover, and then you're both fighting from cover. Like, really simple behaviors like that would be enough to elevate ground combat in Space Engineers a significant degree. Now, really simple behaviors like that in a game with fixed assets are probably, relatively speaking, of course, AI stuff is always really complex, are relatively really easy. In a game like Space Engineers, where there's almost infinite combinations of blocks and situations and stuff like that, it is anything but simple. It is incredibly complicated. So it'll be... So to me, a character that moves around a grid in a sensible fashion, vaguely sensible fashion, and reacts to the player in a vaguely sensible fashion would be enough for me to go, yep, my grids are no longer having interior turrets, they're just having crew. Because I would prefer to have crew that are occasionally janky and mostly, more interestingly, interactive than have turrets that are, by definition, a bit janky for ground-based combat. Hey, Climb. Nice, a stream where I can finally learn interior design. Ugh. How many of my streams end up being interior design streams? It's ridiculous. Right. Let's put something different here. Yeah. Yeah, that'll do. Hey, Existence. Yep. Hey, Brandon. Yep, I'm doing good. No. No, the offset door against these has some weird airtight glitches, as I discovered in Escape from Purgatory. So no, you don't want them straight against it, and I prefer not using those all the time. I like the sliding door. I know a lot of people don't, but I like it. And the reason I like it is because it is airtight all around. It's a full block. And it's the only door that is, other than the... It's the only door that's a single full block. When we look at all the doors, we've got single full block, half block, double block, weird block. So I tend to lean towards using these most of the time. But yeah, so in Escape from Purgatory, what happened for me was having a door like this backed onto an offset door. When you open either door, and weirdly it seemed to be either door, you would lose air tightness on that airlock. You needed to have a block's gap between the two for it to work. So you need to have them like this. With a block's gap. Otherwise it doesn't work. I don't know if that bug's been fixed or not, but because it was one I ran into, I'm like, I'm just gonna avoid it for now. It's just something I'm gonna avoid. Where's my concrete at? Hey Takari. Also, hey Farrell, how's it going? Yes, today on this old grid. Today on Splitsy somehow turns space engineers into the Sims. I don't know whether the hatch doors have the same issue. But I tend not to use the hatch doors. I don't really use the hatch doors much at all because they're big. They're harder to work into a space. Because of their size. I think one of the... Thanks, Dreadus. I think the offset door air tightness was mentioned in one of the patch notes, but I stopped and wasn't paying attention at the time, so I don't know. Fair enough. And then let's go plate. And we'll go that. I love using the sci-fi on the plate. The decorative stuff you get on it just gives you some good options. Yeah. Alright, I think that base is done. Let's delete this last one. I'm deliberately moving these further onto the lake and further away from the atmospheric bases. So these will be for moons without an atmosphere, and these will be for any planets with an atmosphere. So the reason I've spent more effort on making the ones that are for atmosphere than the ones not is that when you think about the planets that we have in the vanilla game, we have Earth, which has an atmosphere. We have Mars, which has an atmosphere. We have Alien, which has an atmosphere. We have Triton, which has an atmosphere. We have Titan, which has an atmosphere. And then we have the Moon. Oh, we have Europa, which has an atmosphere. And then we have the Moon, which doesn't. So the only vanilla planetary body without an atmosphere is the Moon. So I figure spending lots of time on these bases is something a bit counterproductive. Oh yeah, Pertum, which has an atmosphere. Mars has an atmosphere, which means these bases, it's just not breathable. But you still get wind power on Mars. And the only real from my perspective with these bases, the only real difference between an atmospheric base and a not is turbines or solar panels. But I would like to now start building something brand new. Something different. Something, dare I say it, unique. So, I'm thinking a nice, fun way of playing around with the rounded shapes would be to use these cylindrical columns as the base. Then, I'm just going to use... Actually, no, we'll use interior wall. Let's use sci-fi. Yeah. Sci-fi interior... Oh, no. Regular interior wall. Sci-fi looks weird on the end, that's right. Oh, that should be fine, actually. So we go sci-fi. And then... go 5 blocks. Yeah, we should be able to... This should be able to look alright. So this is going to be a little bit similar to this one. Except instead of these little square legs and then the interior pillars, we're going to have something that's a bit stronger and has a bit more of a clear match to the curve that I'm going to work out on top. Yes, the sparking is deliberate. If any damage you see in this world is almost certainly deliberate. Almost certainly. Not 100%, but almost certainly. Alright, I'm using... That's why it smells looking funny. Let's get regular. What I want to find out is if this will look alright with... these made wider. With just those two sticks holding it up. Or do I want to put... Or will I want to put a pair? I'm thinking if I can make it this wide, I've got a lot more interior space to play with. Yeah, these would be a lot easier for Capac to bit a pill than some of the other things that we've done that to. Now, do I need to go 2 blocks high on this, or will 1 be enough? Or will it look really squat and odd? Just 1. Let's try 1. So I'd like to not have to have super high ceilings on this. Because it starts getting real big. Ah, dear. This, yes, if I painted this sand, it's going to look like a sandwich. Do the 2 stilts look too flimsy? One thing I was just thinking about is doing this a little differently. Instead of putting 2 on each end, because I've made this an odd number along, I can also do this. Or something different. Those stilts are more solid than the sticks on the building. It's true. Yeah, that's not a bad idea to put the tank down there. Put an oxygen tank. I kind of like it. Because with these... Alright, I haven't put these anywhere on the hopper. Let's get those. with the pipes. We can throw even more curves in. Yeah, I kind of like that. So at some point I may mess around with something that I started doing last time. So just to get distracted from this for a moment, was just suggested about making a collection of modules that randomize which ones are there. Now, I can sort of do that. The modules won't be connected directly, but they'll just be in the same physical vicinity. What I added in the last stream was the ability for towers like this to spawn next to any of these bases once you get up to a higher difficulty level. So you'll have extra towers that spawn further away. If I make a collection of small buildings like this, instead of having one spawn on its own, I can have it always call in an extra spawn. So you'll get one of these and another one near it, of a different type. And that's something I would like to do for some of these bases to make them look like a little collection of buildings. But it will require a lot more tweaking and a lot more testing, because what I want to do is have them place as close as possible to the original base so that the terrain elevation differences are as minimized as possible. There's a mod out there that uses this technique already. The what's it called? It's the one that has all of the abandoned settlements. I think that's actually what it's called. The abandoned settlements mod, it uses that technique. However, it spreads them out too far. And with how far it spreads them out, you end up with some of the buildings hovering. So, because of those hovering... sorry, because of those hovering ones, it kind of takes you out of the moment when you come across them. Would be amazing if we could work out a way to avoid that. So I think the best way for me to attempt to avoid that is not to make them spread that far apart, just make them spawn really, really close. Yeah, deeper foundations also does, but it starts getting a bit weird. Like, I could have a collection of these tall ones, which were designed that way to prevent the whole being popped out of the ground thing. But I think there are cleverer ways of getting around this issue, rather than having everything on massive stilts. Like, if I work with just really small buildings, I can have a building that spawns only 15 meters away and it will never spawn intersected with the other building. Yeah, it'll be real close. I just have to make sure I get the orientations correct so that it's always oriented correctly based on the original base. My other option is to create specific spawn groups that have specific offsets so that everything is carefully placed, but then there's less variation. But more control makes things often look better, so it's always a bit of a toss-up between those two. Which way you want to deal with it. So I think instead of what I've done on this one where I've got the door coming off the end of it, I think for this one I might bring the stairway up the side. And to do that, I need to switch that out to something different. Like this. So we have an attachment point. or the stairs. And I do prefer stairs for these builds over ladders, because obviously ladders get shot up and then you can't actually use them, which is obviously not ideal. Well, I've left no room in the middle now that I put the oxygen there, so I can't use the stairs going up the middle on this one. I could for another module, just not for this one. I'm just gonna see how this looks. It looks a bit silly, but I kind of like it. I'll see if I can work the interior around that idea. A partially shot up stair will still function. A partially shot up ladder will not. Which is why I prefer a stair. Let's not do that. Nuts. Because the attachment point for cylinders is in the middle. Alright, we're going to do this. I dislike having to use this so much, but it's just the most reliable way of doing it. With it being fairly hidden. I'm surprised that Aragath and Smoky haven't convinced the Keen devs to give us an actual block to do this with. Rather than having to cheese it every time. That'll give me plenty of leeway to keep this thing out of the ground and at the right spot. Trying to decide what to do on the inside of this thing. That's, I've almost given myself too much space. Alright, let's just work from the end out. Work from the end that we are forced to do, and then figure things out from there. Can't really use the hatch on this build. Kind of want to. I can't really, because I'd have to use, like... Okay, that's weird. Why doesn't that let me place that? Annoying. If I do that... And then... That... Oh, that's the wrong way. Yeah, nah. Nah. Nope, 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 nope. Don't like it. Don't like it for this build, anyway. It's too big. Too much going on. So we will go with our offset doors, I think, on this one. Offset door. And we'll do offset door there. I got battery there. I'll be able to work something around that, I think. Yeah, I'm thinking like airlock like this. Should work. What purpose is the building? Yeah, that's actually a very good question, and one I probably should decide before I get too much further. Is this a living quarters? Is this a research lab? Is this a barracks? What is it? I kind of like the idea of this being some sort of research facility. So maybe I'll work along those lines. Because I can always make a couple of variants on this particular base and see how I feel about the different ones being different sizes. Different ones being different types. Actually, I'm going to move this to this type. And then I'm going to put one of these in the ceiling. Yeah. Let's get... Where is it? There it is. I love the decorative bits of a heat vent. Especially next to that battery. So this could kind of be the basic part that I then modify for each one. So let's copy this at its current state. And I'll mess with the interior design and then mess with the supporting turrets for the different versions. So we can have research version, barracks version, and... What was the other thing I said? Restaurant version. I've kind of kept things fairly research military fairly militarized across the different types of buildings I've got. Could be... Yeah, why don't we go warehouse? We'll have a warehouse version. Yeah, I guess medical facility could be another option. I kind of think that to do a research facility, it kind of ends up looking a bit medical because because you kind of want one of the scanners and things like that. So we'll see how the research facility ends up. Alright, just gonna do this to try and remember this one is barracks. And do this to remind myself that this one is going to be storage. This one's research. Okay, mess hall. I mean, you're technically right to do that. Well, for a medical facility, well, let's have a decon shower. And let's put a bathroom in here. And then we'll put a locker here. Why is everything upside down? That one wasn't... Why do I think everything's upside down even when it's not? that fits quite nicely in here. I think if I increase this radius, may... Yeah, the lighting's a little odd. I'll need some another light over here to balance that out. No, I don't like putting showers in the airlock. It makes the airlock so big. Especially when this airlock isn't actually proper because it doesn't have a vent. But yes, you could put a decon shower in the airlock. I was more thinking decontamination because you've just exposed yourself to some infected individual. Ooh. Ooh, ooh. Speaking of infected individuals, let's start off with an ISO space and then see what room we've got left. Maybe that's not the best space to put that in. Maybe over here? No, too far. Oh, don't. Over here. Then we go... door there. There's my round window. Tossing up whether to put a round window there. Another one here. Because it kind of enhances that fishbowl feeling. And we'll put, just to make it really fit the bill, there we go. Then on this side of this, let's put a desk with a chair. The observer. See, this is where interior design gets really fun. So once you have like a theme or a concept for what you're doing, you can have a lot of fun with it. So yeah, if you're standing on the inside here, a little bit harder to look into the building, but you can look outside nicely. Like maybe I should not do that as full windows. Oops. Yeah, maybe that's better. A turret inside for the researcher safety. I'm not thinking this is like nasty person inside. I'm thinking it's more like nasty disease. And they're kind of caring for that person. At least ostensibly caring for them. Not sure how I'm going to work the roof if I do this, but I kind of want to try it anyway. I will probably get rid of some of this stuff, but I just think for now it's not bad just to try and see what it looks like as I add this stuff. Yeah, those corners look at... That corner in particular looks a bit wrong. I think that'll be better if I do... glass the whole way up. And then put steel plate on top. Something like that. I think that fits the bill a bit better. Yeah. This is an interesting... Now that we've got round windows, you can actually play around, I think, a lot more with rounded spaces. Without the rounded windows, there was just very little you could do. I kind of like how this feels on the inside. The rounded walls make it almost feel more claustrophobic to me. Which is funny, because I say that just as Takari's like, it feels less claustrophobic. I guess that's personal preference. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like the idea that something like this tells a story without anything needing to be written down. Nothing needs to be written down for this to tell a story. What that story is going to be up to the person who looks at it, but it does tell something of a story. I really like that. Yeah. There's not much privacy in military medicine. Yeah, I could put something here. However, this is the only block space I've got in here, which makes me think the better use of it would be a light. So I can either have some sort of table in here, or I can put a light in here. I kind of don't have a choice. It's kind of one or the other. Which makes me think light's the way to go. Just give it that little bit of a blue tint. And I'll put yellow tint on the outside so there's a clear separation of the spaces. Just a subtle separation of the spaces visually. Yes, privacy is a very second quaternary issue in military things. Yeah, I liked the idea of putting some sort of seat or table or something in here. I just... I figure if this is an unwell patient, they'll probably be kept in bed. And that's about it. That's my justification for it. Just because I don't have enough block spaces to put the light in. Otherwise. And I would like to have light on the inside being different to light outside. A dead engineer there could be good. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately I can't do the dead engineer because, again, only one space. I'd have to make the ISO room a lot bigger for that to work. Which is a pity. What did I see someone do with this lab equipment to make it look more varied? I think they did it kind of like that. We have it back to back. We don't really have a cart. There's no vanilla block that acts as a cart, which is annoying for something like this. So my options of things that I can include for a medical research facility are obviously these lab equipment blocks. We've got all these freight blocks. And that's kind of it. We've also got... I'm just going to put turret on there. We've also got... Where are they? It's the cryo tube block. Just trying to find it specifically. So I think the cryo is the base one. Yeah. I've also got these, the scanner. So I want to put a scanner somewhere in here, which could maybe go over here. Yeah. And yeah, I guess cryopods could be the other ones. Yeah, I'd like to have the scanner in its own room. I'm just not sure how that's going to be possible here. I'm glad I did put the rounded tube thing here, because it means that that doesn't feel too tight a space to walk through. It actually feels alright. This back here feels too tight though. Actually, let's go... Let's put a set of lockers here. It's kind of like supplies for the nurse that sits at that desk. What's the bet this isn't airtight? Not that it matters, but what's the bet it's not? The control console can look good. I really like that we've now got this corner desk, though. Because the control console has the joysticks and just kind of takes me out of it a little bit. Hey, thanks Holden Forever. Thanks for 16 months. Leave it to Splitsy to like the corner office desk. What? I like all my interior design stuff. Yes, I wish the desks had a screen on them. Do you know what? I wish the desks weren't just passenger seats. I know there are some advantages to them being passenger seats, but those advantages, I think, are not particularly big. I think they would have been amazing cockpits with screens around them, or even like cockpits without joysticks and just have screens and a keyboard. Kind of like the old Colt console pack that I used a lot in the old days. That might need to change out to a window, actually. Feels weird with that block coming down. Yeah, that opens up a lot. Yeah, we need... Yeah, it'd be nice to have something that's in between a cockpit and a seat. So some sort of seat where you can hop in and you can add more than just emotes. Because if you could add more than just emotes, so you could have like turret control or turret controller blocks. But those seats are incapable of controlling steering, gyros, thrusters. Yeah, or the small programmable block just in the corner of the desk as a decorative object. Just as a variant on the desk. So it doesn't even, like, clutter up our build list, our block lists. It's just a variant. Be amazing. How does this look as I get sidetracked? Yeah, a lot of curves around here. That actually looks alright. Okay. The pipe is in a really inconvenient location for a lot of stuff. Ugh. Oh, I don't think I've got enough space for a theatre here, Sloth. At least not anything to feel like it's big enough to sell the illusion. Yeah, I could put the vent in the floor, but I kind of like it sticking out of the floor. I'm fighting a battle with my own preferences here, which is why it's so much uncertainty. I'm like, I like this, I don't like this, I like this, I don't like this. Upper level blister for the scientist to sleep in. That was the other thing I'm torn here. Do I create a little like tea room and on-call bed for them to sleep in? I probably should, shouldn't I? So I should do that off the shower and toilet here. I'm gonna do it anyway. Let's do that. So, because then I'll have a bit of a feel of what space I've got left. I call it a tea room because that's what we call them in hospitals here. Even people who drink lots of coffee do that. It's just habit. I need a couch. Then... that there, then... oh. Those followed by... nah. Not sure that's the right way around to do that, but I kind of didn't want the TV right near the toilet. They need a little kitchenette and then a bed. Let's just get rid of these for a sec. Maybe I'll just go a bar instead of, like a bar like this instead of a kitchenette, instead of a kitchen type thing. Then let's put some window walls on this side. Yeah. Walk through the airlock. Walk into here. You've got the ISO room. You've got the tea room with on-call bed. Tea room / on-call room. Then we can have a scanner, and then we can have another non-ISO bed patient thing here. Ah. Yeah, I think that works. And up my desk goes. Takes so long to get it high enough for me to stand comfortably. Yeah, that works. Yeah, I don't really want to do a second level on top. Based on the troubles I had with the Bubbly Bertha ship, which was multi-level curved blocks, I'm not keen to do that here. What I am thinking might work here, though, is this. Yeah. Creates a nice little corridor here, which I can not do much to fill out unless I change up what this is made out of. Not sure what to do with that. I will be back in just a second. I'm going to take a quick bio break and think about what I can put in the corner here. Alrighty. Thank you for the reminder to stand up, Dr. Baker. It actually... I was getting some shoulder pain a couple of weeks ago, and that's why I added the sit-down, stand-up Twitch redemption thing. Because it reminds me to actually use the standing desk that I have had for a very long time and have barely used. Now, that is the roof. was hoping to put solar panels up here, but that's not going to happen. No plans at this stage, Serenity, for more RimWorld anytime soon. We're playing SnowRunner at the moment, so we'll see how that goes. See how long we keep wanting to play that. We're having a lot of fun with it, so going to keep playing it for a while. I think I even say on my Twitch, I say somewhere, the Twitch schedule is rarely up to date. Let's say that. It is a pain. It's just one of those. It's one of those things. It's one of those jobs that always gets pushed to the bottom of the pile. Yeah, the schedule is more of a suggestion. Yeah, it's rare. It's rare that any of this stuff is exact, but it's just there to help people find it a little bit easier to see when things might be on. Tempted to do this because I want something above that door, but I don't think lockers are going to be the right thing to do. Half block up there. Half block with sci-fi. Well, that doesn't look too bad. Yeah. Hey, I use solar panels. I just don't use them on things that move. Solar panels are fine on a base. It's just Capac puts them on his small grids, and they're just so useless in that setting. They're just so useless. No, I don't want to put beds up on stairs up there, because it'll just... Yeah, no, I don't want to. I don't want to. I might do something like that for the barracks building. For this one, I don't want to do it. Just trying not to put this light into the ISO room too much. It'll be subtle, but there is a difference there. Yeah. Survival maybe was entirely solar, because wind didn't exist. Nor did hydrogen. So I think, yeah, the entire series was run off solar power. Like, literally the entire series. Yeah, exactly, Greywater. The thing that irks me about Capac's obsession with solar is he puts it on small grid things that he expects to have fly. Like, unless you've got the time and the patience to engineer that flying thing the way that Wasted does, it's a complete waste of time putting solar on there. In fact, it's going to cost you energy because it's heavy. I haven't adjusted this panel as yet. I probably should. But I've adjusted both these lights to, all these lights to be yellowish and this one to be bluish. Where's this one? Where's the light? This one. Yeah, Kitamaru, I played a lot of Space Engineers before they had planets. Had my little asteroid base in my 7 asteroids save, and several. I even managed to get Capac in to build a little bit of one with me. Yes, these are the curved windows that were added in the Most Wanted update. They make building stuff out of curved blocks a valid option now. Let's try this. Put that there. Then corner desk. Maybe not. Ooh. There we go. It's like a... There you go. Nurse to monitor 2 patients. That'll work. Yeah. Kitamaru, I would agree with that. There are plenty of legitimate complaints that can be leveled at Keen, but a lot of the complaints that are leveled at them, I think they don't really deserve. That's Space Engineers is an incredible game that does things that no other game dares to even try to do. And does it. Does most of it pretty well. I think I might just have to be without the scanner. I think the scanner's just a bit much here. So I'll do instead another bed. And this one can just have a little table. Yeah, I think that feels better. That feels better than trying to squeeze a scanner into this space and having it all be a bit weird. I think this feels a bit better. As someone who has spent much time in a hospital, this feels much more hospital-y than what I was building with the scanner in there. No, Kitamaru, that's, I believe, intended behavior. Only one turret is meant to target a player. I think, I may be wrong here, but I think the only one turret can target a particular character is intended to stop wolves getting or spiders getting targeted by every turret on your base. Oh yeah, we could put plants between the beds. Maybe. Let's see. Maybe lockers instead. It is meant to be military-esque. It's just the on-call room that gets a little splash of nicety. Right, like this. I've said it so many times, but I really love designing stuff like this on stream. As I do admit I can be a bit, nah, I don't want to do that. Nah, I don't want to do that. But in general, even if I have said that, it's only because it's not quite exactly what my vision was. But I'm still very grateful for those bits of input because I need them to make these things look cool. Split zip plus grable equals good basis for us to loot. Yep. I hope so. It's no hospital unless it has lots of confusing hallways. That is true. It's not a hospital unless it's a labyrinth of epic proportions. And, I mean, for a building this size, I feel like I've made some of that happen because of the random pillar that's in the middle of the ward, because someone didn't design... So the architects didn't properly talk to the engineers, didn't properly talk to the healthcare workers to make it actually designed properly. Can you tell that I've worked at hospitals that have gone through redevelopment a few times? It's nothing ever gets built right. Let's put these up here. Oh, thanks, Nicola. Nope, not bitter about that stuff at all. Nope, I was not a student at a hospital where when they built the new one, they didn't build the operating theater corridors wide enough to fit two beds past each other. Nope, that didn't happen at all. Really busy corridors, two beds can't fit. Yeah, they had to redo the interior walls as a result. Yeah, that... Guess that's what you get for, government issued contracts. Now you need the two-tone teal and off-white walls that are horribly scratched up from people as hopeless at driving beds as I am. Yeah, you never wanted to be a patient in a bed that I was pushing around to you. I'll tell you that much. I was not good at steering those things. I mean, they steer like shopping trolleys, but still, I was not good at it. I am not good at it. Yeah, let's pop those out. I really like this. I think this is really cool. The thing I really like about the concept of building something like this is the ideas that we've kind of worked on here can be applied to, say, a medical transport ship for a cargo ship interior design that we build later. The thing I love about messing around with interior designs and having a theme in Space Engineers is once you get an idea that works, it's something you can apply in lots of different places. Crazy Taxi Hospital Edition. Yeah, Kitamaru, stuff like that's really easy to miss. Really easy. Alright, we need some solar panels on this because I don't like the idea that these things can run out of power. One thought I have on that is to pop one there and one... Oh. Not one there. Maybe instead... Will it let me do this? Well, let's... I don't know if this looks weird. I'm going to put both down and then see. Looks a bit weird, doesn't it? Yeah, bad handrail design is... Yeah. Yeah, it looks a bit weird, doesn't it? I mean, it might look better once I paint a little bit of this in blue, which I'm going to do. But as it is... I mean, yeah, I could do this. Oops. Unfortunately, the way I've done the windows... Actually, do I have any... Let me just check. I'll pop those off. And... just gonna put... need to put windows here. I've done these two, though. I could... possibly get away with... I know this isn't going to provide much power, but maybe I could just do the single solar panel on it. The other option is to do something like this and build up to a stalk of panels that comes off it, which may look better. Let's try that instead. Especially if we do this. Nuts, that doesn't work. And that's not going to attach on the side either, is it? I mean, it'd have to be... actually, it won't even work... Whoops, my hands are in the wrong spot. It won't even work like that. It's not on the attachment point. Means it needs to actually be half blocks, which means it can't be rounded, like I've managed to do on the whole thing so far. Yes, Jax, I like you know what I'm like. I'm designing the lunar bases on the ground. That doesn't look too bad. I think that's the best option of the ones that I've used so far. Yeah. I know I've got a rotor on this. I could do a jaunty angle for the solar panels here. I am trying hard to avoid subgrids wherever I can, though. Oh yeah, I don't have an antenna or anything on this, do I? Need to at least fit a beacon somewhere. Yeah, I might need to put a slopey bit in there. This one should probably work nicely. See you, Dark Wolf. Thanks, Gunslinger. Thanks for the Prime sub. The antenna can go on the solar panel on the back. Solar tower thing. I mean, it can. Should it? Maybe it should. Actually doesn't look as bad as I was thinking it might. It's a little big. Yeah. I might leave that for now. It almost looks like I'm doing a really bad job of creating a radar dish. Perfect sneaky trap to the clothesline get back. Yeah. Yet another one of these times where I wish we had a smaller, large grid antenna. I think that possibly looks better. What is it with all of my mods dropping into the stream and going, this doesn't look like the moon? First Jax, now Graz. Next thing you know, Nev will be dropping in and saying the same thing. I do not have a remote on the grid yet. I could replace this slopey bit here with a remote. I could indeed. Let's try it. Doesn't transition as nicely to that armor, does it? I will find another spot. Oh. Huh. There's something else I want to try, though. Yeah. I did like the little corner bit up the top, but I think if I put this on there, it might just look a bit weird. Oh, maybe not, actually. No. Yeah. Yeah, I like that better. And I kind of like that I've got the armor into this rather than it being the beam blocks the whole way up. How does it look from the other side? Yeah. Yeah, I think that works. Okay, there's not really... I think... It'd have to be upside down, and I don't... I'm not sure, but I don't think the mod likes things being upside down, so let's not do that. We'll find a spot in the floor somewhere. Maybe. Let's go look underneath and see what I can do. I don't like putting the remote fully underground. I have unintentionally... Oh, I have done so on some of these ones. The trouble is, if I put the remote underground, you have to dig to stop this thing from spawning enemies. That's not exactly ideal. There are some flaws in that. it's a bit meaner than I necessarily like. What about here? That can work. It's not perfect, but... No, the antenna actually does nothing. Disabling the antenna is not how you disable these bases. You must disable this. If you disable that, you're sweet. I think putting anything in front of it will look weird because the corners aren't going to be covered. I think it looks less weird with that because there's low enough detail on all the bits. I'll put a half panel over the bit at the front. Yeah, maybe that's worth doing. Let's check it out. Yeah, I suppose that works. Oh yeah, I'm still forgetting that the half catwalk's a thing. Yeah, I kind of prefer that. Even though it's going to make it really obvious where the remote is on this one, so be it. I kind of like that. Now, turret time. There you go. I think that covers it well enough. It's not meant to be super hard, and when the harder versions of this will have support structures around it. It's the side of the remote block airtight. I don't know. If I close that door, what's this showing? It shows airtight. So yeah, it is. Yep, it's airtight. I think it's because lots of this block is airtight. The rounder block gets airtightness on a lot of sides, which can cause some weirdness, but given the way Space Engineer's airtightness system works, I think is one of those compromises. You want to support for the stairway catwalk? I can't. So, There's no way... Well, I mean, I can. The only way I could sort of do a support for it would be something like this. Or, you know, something not quite so chunky. Because under here I've got the... I've got the neon light corner bit. Yeah, I think that's too chunky. Too chunky. Yes, 1 second. I'm just gonna fix that door that Charlie decided to unlock earlier and is now being moved by the wind. And somehow, despite me doing that, she didn't actually wake up. She is happily asleep by my right foot. Oh. Kind of like that idea. Let's try it. Ladder or catwalk build state. So if I start with neon tube downs, then go to ladder. Let's have a look at this. Okay. Huh. Yeah, that actually looks alright. No, I wasn't thinking of adding frost, because this will be in vacuum, so there's no reason that there would be any sort of accumulation of anything on the exterior portions of buildings. Like, if it was something with a pressurized space on the inside, maybe, but yeah. Hi, Rumble. Yeah, dust would work if we had grey dust, but we've only got yellow dust, which might look a bit funny. Yeah, unbuilt window blocks could work too. In fact, for this one, unbuilt windows might be the better option. Ooh, just had a thought. I want to try something. So I haven't actually looked at the build state of this. Yeah. I kind of like that. Makes for a much nicer transition onto how, like, a much more visual let me start again. It makes for a better visual representation of how it's supporting the stairwell. I can't attach an interior pillar anywhere here because they don't support the stairs and connect it back to the main grid. So I've had to use the corner neon lights to support the neon tubes down to support the thing. So the pillars are useless to me, unfortunately. The rain and wind has been fairly intense around my parts. Around these parts. But... Fortunately, I haven't had any leaks in the house yet. Or in the shed. Huh. I'm okay with that. I feel like it needs to be the build state rather than the full thing, because then it is shiny and matches the rest of it. So what do you guys reckon? Do you reckon that looks better than the one next to it in terms of the stairs? I think it kind of does. Now, I do have an alternate option for what I can do here to make it even different if I wanted to. Because if I wanted to, I could put anything that's a full cube inside here. Or I can do this. Get rid of that neon tubes down and put this in. And that's still all connected. If I wanted to, I could put this side on as well, but I kind of like the idea of it leaving it open on one side. But it looks better than having it open on two sides, I think. I will do that to these ones as well then. The June stream yesterday was a lot of fun, Tommaso. I'm not gonna spoiler it for anyone who wants to watch the VOD later, but it was a lot of fun. I've actually made plans with Capac and TFE to... This one won't be streamed, this is just going to be a test thing, to play a match tonight, which will be with one of my other friends who will take up the 4th seat. So we'll potentially... he wouldn't be able to be around for all of the streams, but at least for some of the future ones, we might be able to do 1v1, v1, v1, or other things like that. Yes, I think falling asleep partway through when it's 2:30 in the morning for you is understandable. I like the idea of having the AI when we've got 3 of us, because I think it adds an extra variable into any discussions that we have, and it also gives us something to pick on first. But we actually have to pick on it if we're going to play it that way. Ooh. Hmm. We'll do that. Yeah, true, TF8. The AI is less cautious than we are. Yep, there'll be SnowRunner today. SnowRunner happens when Capac wakes up and when Wasted wakes up. I don't think Wasted was streaming this morning. I didn't actually check. Yeah, so it's once Wasted and Capac are around, then we switch from this over to SnowRunner. Apologies while I eat a small snack of a banana. Oh, yes. Sorry, Micklemoose, you are correct. If Capac wakes up. Not when, if. Yeah. Sadly, gone are the days where I could bash on his door to wake him up when he was late for a stream for... Yeah. Yes. I make a lot of fun of all of it, but I did actually enjoy being having Capac as a housemate. There were some frustrations in it too, but on the whole, I'm glad we had that time as housemates. It was fun. We got to do a bunch of things that were amusing that you can't really do, and building the channels and stuff together was something that would have been impossible if not for living together the way we did it anyway. Alright, we need some blue. Go to tools, paint gun. Yeah, maybe not on the leg. Nope, not on the leg, I said. And no. No. That's the problem. This is part of the problem with my normal creative process of make everything a flat color and make it interesting. Once you do that, if you haven't, as I did in this case, thought about what you were going to do with color by the end, you're going to struggle to get the color to look right. Well, you can struggle to get the color to look right. Ooh. Oh, I kind of like the sci-fi on that bit. I like that pattern. Some nice little detail. What does it get on this one? Yeah, sure. Nope, that's too much. Went too far. Wind it back a little. Yeah. Coloured end caps. Yeah, we could try that. I think that's worth a shot. Actually, yeah, that was a good call. Nice one, Artie. I think that's a bit much again. But let's put... No, that doesn't quite work. I think the blue on the end caps might actually be enough. Gruz, my grey isn't even default grey. Something that's always bugged me about Space Engineer's default grey It's not grey. Also, I missed. Thank you so much, Gunslinger, for the 1,000 bits. Thank you very much. I've totally lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, the default grey. So Space Engineer's default grey is actually a really pale red. There's a tint of red to it. In the color thing, it's the hue's set at 0, but the saturation's like a couple of %. And so it's the, I don't know if that's changed, but the original one was just this slight hint of red. It always I never liked it as a result. Yeah. I'm really happy with that. Let's have a look. Have a last walk through. My lights are off. Let's go nighttime. We need some lights underneath. Yeah, that looks better than what I did on this side. I'm gonna just... I don't think this is gonna look any good, but I'm gonna try it anyway. Yeah, it doesn't look good. Let's try... Let's try this. A little bit less intense. Ooh, I'm probably not going to want that going out to 10 meters because that's going to have an impact on how it looks inside. Thanks, J-Rod. Thanks for the prime sub. Nah, no, I don't think it needs any medical markings as such. Although, do we have any normal LCDs that work that way? I haven't put anything on this. Content, text and images. What do we have as default? Online, arrow, cross, danger, no entry, construction, white screen, grid, store, charts, let's see here, single coin, blueprint, trade, some graphs, logos, blueprints. Posters, no. You know what? Where is it? So, one of the things I want to do before I release this is include ACS LCD images in the mod. Slash, I might actually make it as a mod dependency, make a separate mod. But on top of these ones, maybe we need a medical logo LCD screen. Actually, I do know what. We used to play baseball together. Wow, Tommaso, wow. Yeah, I'll put this on the moon in a sec and check it out. That's a good thought. Yeah, you can definitely tell the color difference. That's nice. The blue doesn't come through in an unpleasant way inside, which is also good. Yeah. It's unfortunate I can't have any lights on the roof. The only spots I've got is where this turret is and down the end here. So the antenna's blocking anywhere from anything being stuck on the end there. I guess I could put something on the end of the solar panels, maybe? I might just leave it. I think I'll just leave it. Yeah, the snake sword symbol was the thing I was thinking of. Medical stuff. That or just adding in a biohazard symbol. Because I think biohazard works too. The rod of Eceplis. Stuff of I don't know what the thing's called. I never had to learn about that. What have I done? Be fine, be fine. Right, copy that. Let's go to the moon. Where's the moon? Oh. There is no moon. Okay, it's very unlikely to spawn in this rough area, but there we go. I think it fits in pretty well with the moon, don't you? Yeah. I think I created this save as an empty world and I pasted the planet in myself. To give me as clean a slate as I could possibly start with. Good morning, Capac. Steph is gone, best just to admit it. Oh dear. I think the planets always spawn the same orientation. I don't think there's any way you can manipulate it. Not really tested it. Alright, let's get rid of that. See you, Sloth. Cool. I'm quite happy with this. Made a little medical research lab. Hospital thing. I'll leave that door open in the blueprint. Now this thing's going to need a name. And the name does matter and can't be too silly. Because the name will be broadcast on the antenna. There is no medical symbol in vanilla for an LCD, unfortunately, Capac. I've added it to my list of LCD images to make for the mod, but sadly there isn't one. Yeah, it's probably going to have to be something boring like medical outpost. Maybe biohazard containment facility? Yeah, it could be quarantine station. Yeah, maybe quarantine's better because it's shorter. I don't know if that's a registered trademark. Oh yeah, Capac, you're high enough up the hill, but have you had any issues? Are you going to have any issues getting to work tomorrow with the way the water is around your area? You should be able to go the back way, but it floods too, actually. Wait, is your work flooded? Yeah, I don't really want to do the Red Cross thing. No, I'm going to go biohazard. Biohazard containment. Good morning, Capac. In chat.
Which ASCII codes work in Space Engineers?
You wished ASCII codes worked.
Yeah.
So you could do, yeah. Yeah, there'd be a lot of options of things we could mess with then.
I'm just looking at the list of medical related ASCII codes. And there's the staff of Hermes and Asclepius.
Yep.
Caduceus.
Because that was the image I was thinking of using to put on the LCD and make a nice high detailed LCD image of that, because then you could put it on a lot of things like medical research labs and stuff. Basically, my plan was to create an LCD image mod that is intended for ACS, but could be used by other people for other things if they wanted to. So I've made a word processor style image in the past. I hope I've still got it. I lost one of my hard drives, so it might have been lost. So yeah, I want to kind of make a few things like that. Now I need to change the antenna signal to read biohazard containment. Apparently I hit numlock accidentally sometime recently. So my plan with this base is to do a medical one, and then a barracks one, and then I also wanted to make a storage facility one. So I've got sort of 3 internal variants. Does kind of give the game away that the antenna says what it is, but I don't think that's too much of a problem. I honestly, I don't know what I'm trying to do with the AI versus ACS thing. I had been leaving most of the bases as assertive installations. That's why the AI. The reason I was doing that is it then is much easier if you're a server manager to delete all of the ships. Anything related to a ship is really easy to delete, and you can just leave the bases or vice versa. Just makes them read much more easily in the entity list. But I started doing some of them in ACS, so I've confused it now. Which is annoying. I don't know which way I want to do it, and I'm going to have to fiddle with it at some point. Dr. Pika, I would argue the dumbest example that I'm aware of, or one of the dumbest examples that I'm aware of copyright misuse, is inline pumps for CPU coolers. Sorry, the on-block pump for CPU coolers. There are a number of Be Quiet products that are not available in the US. Available elsewhere in the world, but not in the US because under US copyright law, it's patented by Acertec. But outside of the US, it's not. So Be Quiet can sell it to everywhere else in the world, just not in the US. And yeah, the medical Red Cross thing is, to me, somewhat legit because it is preventing misuse. It's like registering the term doctor to prevent charlatans from using it. It's kind of important. It's to protect people as much as anything.
That makes a lot of sense in the real world, but not in fiction.
As in stopping people from using it in fiction, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's definitely validity there. Just thinking how many beds I can actually fit in this joint. Does that matter?
I thought Cadbury's Purple was trademarked.
Yeah, it's trademark, not copyright. Which is similar to Coke's Red. Coca-Cola's Red is similarly trademarked.
It's not as bad as it sounds.
Yeah, it's because trademark prevents other people from using it in that context.
Yeah, what it's for is to prevent like imitators from like directly copying their sort of packaging and style and stuff to make like imitation products.
Yeah,
that confuse the market.
Yeah,
but sometimes they use those laws they abuse those laws and go after people with completely unrelated products and say it's somehow causing confusion with customers.
Yeah.
Like Eisen's example.
Yeah, car painter that got in trouble over Coke Red. Yeah. I mean, if they were painting a van to give away products and they painted it Coke Red, I can see that being an issue. especially if they're not giving away legitimate products and they're actually using it to make people unwell. Yeah, I think that's an okay enough bathroom. I hate that I always seem to end up putting the shower as a thoroughfare, but it works. Whatever.
Oh, we kind of need a like a straight through shower block
Yeah.
so that you can make like a bank of showers
Uh-huh.
rather than just the corner showers.
I mean, you can sort of make a bank of showers by doing this.
Oh yeah, putting like sort of one next to the other, but then they've all got like a weird
Yeah, why have that wall?
dividey wall.
Yeah, if this was open through so you could walk through that bit, for certain uses it'd be handy. Having it as a corner is handy for other purposes. He put it on a dragster, gave the illusion Coke was sponsoring them. Yeah, I can see why that was held up and the person was stopped from painting their car that color. If you're acting in a sense where, you know, people are going to assume sponsorship, having Coke's particular color could easily mislead people. I can totally see why that would have been ruled in favor of Coca-Cola in that instance. And that's... To be honest, that's one of these things that often comes up about these stories. Because it makes good headline reading, lots of places will just put the Coke gets this. And you read it and you're like, on the surface, that sounds bad. Then you read into it and you're like, yeah, they probably shouldn't have painted it red.
I read most of those articles and most of them sound pretty flimsy.
I mean, there are plenty that do, but there are plenty that don't, and are just badly misrepresented.
Well, a lot of those ones you never hear about.
Oh, I mean when I say misrepresented, I mean as in the way that people write about them is misrepresented.
Oh, yeah.
Because they want to obviously get people's attention, and writing stuff in a way that misrepresents it gets people's attention.
Well, the whole thing needs reform.
Agreed.
Globally.
So,
But mostly in America, since everybody just copies theirs.
is it what would you put as the odds for Disney losing control of their copyright next year?
The
Mickey
Mickey
Mouse.
Mouse thing.
Yeah.
I think that's 2024, but
Oh, is it 2024?
yeah, I think so.
What would you put as the odds of that happening? Low, medium, high.
The thing is, if they were going to do something about it, I feel like they would have done it already.
Maybe
It's
they feel like
feeling
they can't.
like a bit late to sort of catch up with it now.
Could be.
I mean, the thing that people don't, people that aren't aware of it more than superficially won't know is that it only affects, like, this is like Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Like, you can't use like the current design or anything that's happened to him like since then.
Yeah.
Until, you know, until
Those have reached
X
that
plus N years when when those. It's like the like Winnie the Pooh going into
Public domain, yeah.
public domain. like certain aspects of it. Like you can't have Winnie the Pooh in a red shirt because that's a Disney invention from
Hmm.
I don't know, the 70s or something. But on the other hand, I find that it's absolutely ridiculous that something that's made by a company, made by a group of people, like Mickey Mouse, like for it to have like 90 years copyright on it seems absolutely ridiculous. I can understand why you'd give like a sole author like lifetime copyright.
Because it may be what sustains them to live their life.
Yeah, because it gives them protection for their sort of income. But you know, what other company gets like income protection for 90 years on selling a product?
Well, just ask any drug company.
Well,
They get even less.
so another example
Fair, which is
of
reasonable. I'm not arguing for more protection for them. But it's like that's the flip side of that argument.
so yeah, but it's another great example of another industry that is rife with rights abuse in terms of these kinds of rights protections.
So, barracks building with 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 beds. It's not too bad. Little table for them to sit at, little kitchen. I'm debating whether to put something around this side, around the central vent thing. Which I'm keeping because I like the style. I'm not sure whether a bar counter makes sense. Because I could put that there and then put the corner in there. I don't feel like a military barracks is going to get plants. Armory lockers. Yeah. Haven't got any of them around, do I? The weapon rack. Also, that's the wrong color. I was thinking things were slightly not right. Why is that so dark? Oh, I know why that's so dark. There we go. Yeah, they do have plants. It's for their camouflage training. uh... I mean, I could put a couch here, but I feel like it's just weird. Actually, you know what? I think will work.
Good old pipe couch.
I think that. I could put storage racks, but I think the cargo container things look better. As a person living in a military barracks right now, I can say plants would be nice. Yes. Even in like commissioned officer quarters, you don't see plants. Outside them, sure, but inside, I've never seen them. That and rats. Oh no! Oh no! Okay, maybe I do this differently. Plastic plants. Oh, yep. Had a cactus when I was in the military. Yeah, fair enough. Have you messaged Wasted, Capac?
Not yet. He's not streaming or anything.
Nope, he wasn't earlier either. There you go. Zoralis, I am building the lunar bases for my NPC mod. So I build them on this planet because it's an easy spot for me to keep all of the stuff together. And then these will be spawning in with the ACS mod. Now... Grab that. And we should be able to put windows same way here. Yeah, I think this will look alright. Now, for this one, I think we can do the solar panels differently.
What is that different panel that you're using? I don't recognize it.
It's the panel, but it's with the sci-fi armor texture.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's totally worth your while with the panels to play around with the different textures, because they give very different surface finishes. They don't all have that lightning bolt pattern in them. Some of them look like shiny air vents. Worthwhile looking at corrugated for a lot of blocks too, because corrugated, where it doesn't actually have the corrugations, is a really scratched up standard armor panel. Which is quite handy as well. Been learning some new tricks. Zoralis, these blueprints, all of the blueprints for the ACS mod should not be published by anyone on the workshop, and I will not be publishing them on the workshop. They are for the mod and for the mod only. If you make changes to them and you've built your own version with them, 100% publish that, but I don't want to see people republishing exactly what's there. It's supposed to be explored in the mod, in the game, and that's the way I want it to be. Tis the author's intent. The author in this case being me. And also, the cargo ships are not solely my work. So I don't like the idea of people publishing other people's works without permission, and yeah. I really wish I'd made it so that I could put it down the end here, and I might actually have done so. Maybe. Yeah. I'll get rid of that. And do what I did initially on the other side. What the? Oh. Whoops.
Ba-bow.
Yeah. Indeed. There we go. Considering those both have the same core, I feel like they look comfortably different. Obviously, I've got to now paint the blue on it.
Hmm. I hope whatever wavelengths that antenna is picking up are going to pass through the solar panel easily.
You think that one's a problem? Let's try this. No, I just painted everything sci-fi. I didn't mean to do that. That can stay sci-fi. Now, the real test is how that looks when I go inside.
Is one of those panels on the top crooked?
What do you mean?
Oh no, they all look right. I thought one of the armor panels was like
Oh, right.
misaligned.
I guess I could... I don't have to do these interior ones in blue. Because they're not really visible from outside. So I could just do that. Okay, that looks a bit weird. Yeah, don't do that. That's not a good idea. Ah, I know what we need. Motivational posters.
Wasted says he's going to have a final attempt at locating the missing arm for his glasses and will be with us in 10.
Okay. That's not good. He was saying that the screws were loose last week, wasn't he?
I thought he was talking about something else.
Hmm. Yeah, maybe the LCDs are a bit much. We had some sort of... actually, one up there would work. Over the table. With... where is it?
The mod that lets you play YouTube videos.
Not that. I was actually thinking... that one. They're getting briefed on jump drives, it looks like.
Oh, yeah? Alright, man. This is how you strip your faster than light drive.
I might add another couple of lights around here. I'm happy with that. I'm actually kind of pleased with how much I've done this morning. Having updated those 4 buildings and built 2 completely from scratch.
Have you checked to make sure the lighting's alright in the dark?
I have on the original one, I haven't on this one yet. I want to put some lights underneath as well. Given this is a barracks, I feel like it should possibly have some larger caliber guns, or at least a larger caliber gun. And remember, when ordering replacement parts for your XJG 4000 series jump drive, make sure you enter part numbers correctly. Ordering part number 100-5/J will order a pizza oven, not a jump sequencer.
Hey, if I can double up my FTL drive as a pizza oven, I'd be pretty happy.
Fair, fair, fair. I haven't left anywhere for this to have a turret on it. So I'm gonna need a pillar for it. And that
What about on
means-
the ends?
Actually, good point.
Like there between those 2 windows.
Could put one on both ends, if I wanted. Yeah. Yeah. That'll be enough guns. Maybe I'll put an anti-personnel one up here. Looking down at my dog as she sleeps with her tail wagging. Although she's got her hackles up. Like she gets this little mohawk down. Let's see if I can get a picture of it. Let me send that to Discord. She's got this like little mohawk thing that she gets when she gets like intent on something. Usually when she's getting all protective. Discord. Kennel, where's the kennel? The hospital has more turrets. Yeah, the hospital has more turrets, less range, but also does a lot less damage. A pair of Gatling guns are going to do a lot more. So she gets this. This raised bit of fur that comes up when she gets all like, I'm going to be all protective. Yeah, I know, I said hackles. She gets it up, but it's funny because it's happening while she's asleep. And it's happening while her tail is wagging. So she's very confused. Yeah, that'll do. What shall I call this barracks? Building. Patrol Unit 1.
Grunt storage.
There's a tube underneath that's yellow and not green because it doesn't actually connect to another conveyor. Trying to find something that's interesting but isn't a gag that's going to get old is hard.
Security something.
Like, what would the military call a
frontline barracks.
Yeah. That's like for a particular unit of troops.
A death trap.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Oh yeah? How about like
Garrison.
support garrison?
Yeah.
Or security garrison?
I like support garrison. Makes it sound less aggressive.
Well, that way it's sort of non-specific, so it can be sort of attached to whatever's nearby.
Yeah. I like that. I like it. Yes. There were plenty of ones that could be amusing, such as pillbox, so that Capac can make a bitter pillbox. Sardine can, etc. Honeypot. Honeypot. Yeah.
Oh, if it was security operations base, then its acronym would be SOB.
Yes, it would. Are you enjoying that?
Yes. A bit unwieldy, though.
Yes. This. How would you feel about turning one of these into a rover at some point?
Well,
It'd be a
I
lot
mean,
easier.
I was thinking you could turn them, because you got the medical one and you got a barracks one. You could sort of combine a couple of them and make like a big like hospital building.
Also got this one.
And the barracks into wards.
Yeah, have a big hospital set up. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that one's just begging to have like robot legs and
being turned into
toddling
Spot the
around the
dog.
place. Just whack your robo horse's legs on it.
God, those look janky. Which is perfect. It's what I was going for, but they still look so janky. I wish I could have done them in sequence, because them all moving backwards and forwards in perfect unison doesn't quite work.
Ooh, you know what you could do with these sort of modular buildings that I haven't seen yet?
What's that?
You could have like an under construction one with like scaffolding and
Yeah. I'm actually going to write that down, because I've got lots of ones that are damaged, but I've got no under construction ones. I'll put that as a post-launch thing, but add under construction bases, or at least parts of bases, things that could be being constructed near a base. So last week I was adding these towers to spawn near them. But I could also have something that looks like the next building being under construction that gets spawned near the original one. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good call, Kamak.
you get all psyched out to take on the enemy base, and then you get there and there's like, it's not even built yet.
I mean, they'll still need to protect themselves a little bit, otherwise it's just really easy loot.
Yeah, well, I mean, there wouldn't be much loot there because it's under construction.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But it's like, big bad military base, do not approach. And then you get there and there's some scaffolds, a couple of containers.
Yeah, I really like this idea. I like the idea of having a few different construction bases. Obviously, I'd have to make their spawn rate relatively low, otherwise it gets a bit tiresome, but having a couple of those potentially come up be great.
Yeah, I feel like these kind of designs are like they drop like a framework down,
Yeah.
and then it gets built on the surface by.
Was it this pre-made section that made you think of it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Because I made that up and went, actually, that's a good starting point, so I copied it a couple of times so I could work on different fit-outs. Because I feel like the lunar bases being modular makes a lot of sense. Because it makes them nice and airtight and practical from that point of view. Whereas I mean, all of these things are modular to an extent. At some point I'm going to need to give these another once-over with the new blocks. I'm still pretty happy with how much I fitted into this space. There's a very pink light. Yeah. I'm pretty happy with today's progress. So the things that I need to do before release of the mod is... This was one of the last things needed to do build-wise, other than checking through all of the actual cargo ships to make sure they're all up to date, and I'll probably try and do that in one long stream on a Thursday or something in the coming couple of weeks, because I'd like to get this out. I think I can get ACS released by the end of July, with how much is left to do. The main challenge will be, I think, getting the chat stuff done. Maybe I should try to sort things out so next week when Capac joins in... Hey, Wasted. Next week when Capac joins in for chatting, I can get him to help me come up with different chat lines to put in and get people to record.
What is a news licker?
It's a ticker. It's a T.
No, I prefer it the other way.
Although, being clear, this isn't a news licker. This is a fake news licker.
Yes.
Somewhere around is the real one, not this one.
Ooh, this news is cranberry flavored.
Fair enough, that probably is a T. It doesn't look like it through the stream compression. But...
I'm not surprised. For some reason, Notepad++ keeps changing the way that it... the thickness of the font on me. So I've been trying to set it to be big enough that it would be multiple pixels wide, and it keeps changing it so it keeps getting skinny again. Because now does it look more like a T with the compression?
Now it says ticker. I'll give you that. I'm far less interested, but it does say ticker.
So now that Wasted and Capac are here, we are going to start playing some SnowRunner.
Huzzah!
I will wrap my stream up here and we will switch over to some SnowRunner in a minute. So hang around for that. Otherwise, I'll see you guys soon. And I will go to my... Be right back. That one. See you guys shortly.